Oh, I forgot to cut my music off. Maybe Sony don't own this music. They won't get you on, you know. Anyway, that's beside the point. If they catch us, they catch us. Hey, I want to tell you guys about my friend Mike Mishu. He was the first person I encountered that had that thing we call genetic grandeur. You know, me and Mike was from the Mill Hill, and I was from Chintro, over in Dillon, right? They wouldn't, neither one of us had no genetic makeup. We were just like bits and pieces thrown together, man. That's what we were. We was bits and pieces. But Mike got it in his head he was French. Somehow French made him more than his bits and pieces. And he took it so far that he told us all that we couldn't call him Michu no more. We had to call him Michaud. And I used to ask him, I say, Mike, just calm down a little bit, man. If your name is Michaud, why do you spell it Michu? And Mike couldn't catch on to my humor, right? Mike, he wasn't the type of person that would laugh. Even if he thought something was funny, he never laughed. But everybody's different, you know. You never look down on anybody. You just try to enjoy the company, or that's what I do. But anyway, me and Mike, you know, we'd hustle money. And we'd walk the railroad tracks. We didn't walk the streets, we walked the railroad tracks. And me and Mike, you know, the seaboard coastline ran right by Sue Singleton's. You know, she had a little store, a little bar, you know, in there, with jukebox, juke joint, I guess you'd call it. And me and Mike, we had us a little bit of money up, you know. We went to Sue Singleton's one night. We was in there shooting a pinball and drinking the Falstaff staff beer and listening to the music on the jukebox. You know, 14 years old, man, we've been living life a long time. We lived life our whole life. Trying to have something to have fun with, you know, trying to have memories, just something to laugh at. And me and Mike, we got so drunk that night, we got down on our hands and knees and walked out the front door. And we got on the seaboard coastline, you know, crawling on our hands and knees. We were going right down the railroad track. We had to go on down. The seaboard would meet up with the Atlantic. There's a crossroads, you know. And when we got to the crossroads, Mike had to take his left hand and go to the Mill Hill. I had to take my right hand and go to the Chintro. You know, the crossroads is romanticized by Hollywood, you know. And it's this place, you know, where supposedly you can go down at midnight and sell your soul to the devil to play the blues music, you know. It don't work that way, you know, nothing works that way. You know, our whole religion, Christianity, is just a conglomeration. None of it follow the teachings of Jesus. You know, it's just a conglomeration of paganism. You know, and all paganism, it's not a negative thing. Paganism is a numbers game. It's like you remember the three major religions of the Middle East. You know, you're a mainstream religion. But you can have the same beliefs, but have fewer followers, and that makes you a pagan religion. But anyway, that's beside the point. That's just me getting off on my bandstanding, you know. I'm just telling you the things Jesus told me. But anyway, this one night, me and Mike, we went to Sue Singleton's, and we was in there playing the pinball, you know. We came down the sidewalk, the railroad track, like I told you. Well, before we ever got to the crossroads, I looked over at Mike. I said, you know, Mike, this is the longest set of stairway steps I ever climbed in my life. We ought to be in heaven by now. And Mike was one of these magical people. Somehow, the more he drank, the more his hat rotated on his head. He never touched his hat. But you could tell how much he had to drink, how far his hat rotated. You know, I don't know what happened if he rotated 360. I don't know if he'd sober up or not. But anyway, I told Mike, you know, we was crawling down the railroad track, like I told you. And I told you, you know, it's like Mike, I told Mike, I said, you know, this is the longest set of stairway steps I ever climbed in my life. You know, Mike, he looked over at me, you know, his hat was crooked on his head, and he said, you know, I don't mind these long stairway steps, but these little handrails give me the devil, I guarantee. I guess a lot of life is in your perspective.